Hello again. Like many people, I raised my eyebrows a little when I heard that Doctor Who was going to be played by a black African homosexual. I nearly choked on my coffee though when I learned that the part of Rose, the character played by Billy Piper, would now be taken by a black male who is changing sex and turning into a girl. This sort of thing, which is sometimes described as colorblind casting, is of course anything but. It is the quite deliberate and conscious casting of black people into roles which are usually played by white people. And the intention is either to shock the sensibilities of ordinary folk or to accustom them to a future where black people will be the most prominent members of the new society. It is, of course, specifically black people, not just those who are not white, who are pushed into this role. One seldom sees Indians, Bengalis or Chinese being shoved into the limelight in this way. Making a new stage production of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe? Hey, let's make all the Pevensey children black. Producing new covers for Enid Blyton's Mallory Towers school stories set in an English boarding school in the 1940s? Better make sure the majority of those shown on the cover are black. Shakespeare? Let's ensure that we have black leads. Remaking The Man Who Fell to Earth, a role which David Bowie made his own in the 1970s? Be careful to make the character black this time round. There might just possibly be a case to make for genuinely colourblind casting. That is to say, running auditions and selecting the best actors, and then if the best one actually turns out to be black, then not letting that influence your decision. I quite see that, but this isn't at all what's happening here. This is deciding beforehand that you're going to make sure that all the most important characters are played by black people. That's a different thing entirely, and it's no better than deciding in advance that you will only choose white people for the leading roles. The latest and very obvious instance of this awful trend may be seen in the production of a sequel to Ibsen's Doll's House, which has opened recently in London. I show a scene from it in the thumbnail to this video. Let me ask a question now. Hand on heart, is there a single viewer who really believes that this is an example of colourblind casting? In other words, were the auditions simply held and the best actors chosen? It really wasn't the case, was it? What has happened is that a play being made which is set in 19th century Norway, those producing it have quite cold-bloodedly decided to make sure that black people play the main parts. Leave aside for a moment the fact that this rather distracts one and spoils the illusion that we're looking at a scene set in Norway in the 1890s. We need to ask ourselves why this is being done. Is it simply the novelty aspect? The fact that this is a very quirky modern idea and makes you look ever so right on in the theatrical world might have something to do with it, of course. Or is there a deeper motive behind this relentless imposition of black actors, black people in advertisements and so on? Is it designed to create a subliminal effect upon those viewing such things that we really do live in a black country, or at least soon shall do? I find this a fascinating field for speculation. By the by, I hope I didn't irritate too many people with the video I made about Christianity this morning. I might mention that I'm largely guided in my private life by two of the greatest medieval theological thinkers, that is to say Thomas à Kempis and Mother Julian. As far as Kempis goes, I've had this copy of The Imitation of Christ. Well, I can tell you how long I've had it, because when I bought it, it cost 12 and 6. As for Mother Julian, I earnestly recommend her to everybody. This was the first book written by a woman in English, by the way. She was a universalist who believed, as I do, that everybody will ultimately be saved by the power of God's grace.